So the 1 hour special of Dragon Ball Super has aired, and it's gone down in history as the best set of episodes of Dragon Ball Super to date, at least based on fan response. Of course, I did my review Sunday morning after watching the episode, and as promised in that review, today I'm bringing you a follow-up review of the sorts, I suppose, on the 1 hour special, breaking it down, giving my more objective thoughts on the special, and seeing if it really and truly did live up to the hype. Because at the end of the day, my review, even though I do feel that I did touch on some decent points for the sake of it being a review, it felt more of a ramble slash reaction to the 1 hour special. So join me today as we break it down and see where the 1 hour special got things right and where it got it wrong. Sanjay Uchiha, stay tuned. Alright guys, thanks for joining me here today. Be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to get notifications for when I upload Dragon Ball, Naruto, Boruto videos, and all the sorts. But without further ado, let's get into it. So we'll be taking this step by step, part by part, from episodes 109 to 110, obviously. So without further ado, let's get into it. So starting with 109, getting into it, as the episode starts, I actually have to mark down the 1 hour special because we're introduced back to, well, we pick up with Ribrianne versus Goku, and it's not that I personally hate Ribrianne, but the thing is about this initial scene here, you have to be honest, and I'm sure everybody feels this way. We are going into this with the expectation of seeing Goku versus Jiren, a fight that's been hyped up since February essentially, and we have Goku here fighting this girl who's powered up into a somewhat super Ribrianne form in his base. So the thing that really takes away from the 1 hour special for me here is that they're trying to create this false sense of tension, and it really and truly does take away from screen time. Honestly, it's a 50-50 thing. Probably if Goku was fighting her in, like, say, Super Saiyan 2, it wouldn't have been too bad, but honestly, it's false tension that really takes away from the screen time of Goku versus Jiren, and I'll elaborate more on the whole screen time aspect of it once we actually get to episode 110. But moving on from there, so we move on from there into the Jiren versus Goku fight, at least right before it, and we see that Bermod, or Belmod, however it's pronounced, gets into the act of telling Jiren telepathically that, hey, it's time to take out Goku. Now, the thing that starts to uplift or make the 1 hour special good is the minor characterization that Jiren starts to get here, because at the end of the day, Jiren, like, honestly, the fact that we could be so hyped up about Goku stepping in the ring with somebody that, for the lack of better phrasing, has no character, it's just a strong guy, it's crazy. But the thing is, and I've talked to, like, literally I talked to somebody last night, and they were saying that they don't really like Jiren. He's just like too OP with no character. So the thing is, at this point, getting some minor characterization like starts to uplift the 1 hour special. We'll find out that he wants a Super Dragon Balls for himself, and it's at this point, at the start of the fight, that Krillin starts projecting the whole character of a martial artist onto Jiren. And the thing is, what makes it good is that there isn't anything in the 1 hour special that necessarily contradicts this. It does seem to be true, even though we do have Belmod saying that Jiren has a habit of taking his opponent's strongest attacks and crushing it with pure power. It is highly believable that Jiren is of the martial artist spirit, considering he even meditates. So there was that. That was definitely a plus to the 1 hour special. Now, after that, so I'll call it Jiren versus Goku part 1. So the power scale really and truly justifies how short the fight is at this point for this first part of the fight, because at this point, it being this short essentially helps establish the tension that a lot of people seem to complain about in Dragon Ball Super, and it's really established through Jiren, obviously, and it's kind of reminiscent of that whole Dragon Ball Z vibe that, you know, you'd probably ask how are Goku and friends gonna actually take this guy down. It really helps establish that emotional commitment to the show. Not that we don't have one, since, you know, most of us are longtime fans watching the show, I guess nostalgia if nothing else, but that whole tense emotional commitment of say, okay, like say back on Namek, like Frieza seems unbeatable, like how they're gonna beat him, I gotta see, like that I gotta see vibe. So that was definitely a plus, like objectively speaking, like that really helps to sell the show at this point. And like moving on, the choreography and pacing, it really draws you in and makes it more believable that Jiren is like crazy powerful based on the power scale and how they actually write him. Especially since Goku wastes no time in pulling out the Kaioken, and the fact that the battle sequence itself is really dynamic, it's really ever-changing, it really helps to draw you in. Definitely a plus for the 1 hour special. Of course, moving on to the next aspect of this initial part of the fight, the Kaioken. While I will give the 1 hour special props for the subtle callbacks to the battle against Frieza, and for those of you who don't know, similar to how in this episode Krillin mentioned Goku should pull out the Kaioken times 20, and it's revealed that he was already using it back on Namek, against Frieza, Goku was using, like, initially when you watch the fight, it doesn't seem like Goku is using the times 10 Kaioken, and then Tien at one point mentions to Kinkai that the rest of the characters shouldn't worry because Goku can still bring out the times 10, but it's eventually revealed that Goku is already using the times 10, so there you go, for those of you who didn't like realize that subtle callback. So, but the problem I had here, or I think it might be a bit subjective, but let me know what you think. It's the mastery, like, I think the mastery of the Kaioken up to times 20, honestly speaking, it seems to like replicate the initial problem I had with the introduction of the Kaioken into this series. And it's like the general problem of Super on a whole. There's no build up to it, especially since it's been established before Goku went to Zeno that he's rusty and hasn't really been training, honestly speaking. And personally, I felt like a bigger deal should have been made from the times 20 Kaioken. However, I do believe it is a 50-50 problem, because on the problem side, well, let's not take a side, like just generally speaking, like you could deduce, it makes it kind of difficult to power scale things, I think, because if you look at the aesthetic value of the Kaioken times 20, it makes you wonder if when Goku powered up to Kaioken against Merge Zamasu, was that times 20 now? So you see where I'm going with this, because before, aesthetically speaking, as I mentioned in my review, when Goku powers up to times 10, you see like he gets several shades lighter to indicate that he's at that level. But at the same time, I guess you could deduce that Goku not looking that way visually could indicate some level of control. So I guess it really is a 50-50 problem, but let me know what you guys think about that. So as I mentioned, the choreography and pacing is pretty fast, and we don't take too long to actually get to the Spirit Bomb aspect of the 1 hour special. At this point, Jiren's already been made out to be this crazy powerful guy. The tension is there and you're glued to the screen. Definitely a plus for the 1 hour special up to this point, minus the River End part. Now, the Spirit Bomb, I know a lot of people are going to be divided in terms of the speed and power based on the fact that it's only energy from the Universe 7 members, and people are going to want to compare it to the Spirit Bomb against Kid Buu and all of that. Now, I'll talk on the speed aspect. Speed-wise, I don't really have a problem with how fast Goku gathered it. I mean, granted, even like back in the fight against Kid Buu, he was in the realm of the Kaioshins, and he was gathering the energy from Earth and Namek, and like after raising their hands, the energy itself doesn't take too long to actually reach Goku. And the fact that the persons Goku's getting the energy from is they're in the same room essentially, so speed shouldn't even be a problem, like as a complaint, honestly speaking. Now, I think the more debatable aspect is the power of it. So obviously, since Goku obviously was confident it was gonna work, obviously this Spirit Bomb has more power than his Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20. Okay, so obviously throughout the history of the series, you could definitely say that the Spirit Bomb, the energy gathered from the Spirit Bomb isn't like literal, it's exponential. So for example, if everybody had a power level of 1 that he gathered it from, and say each member of Universe 7 was equal, and he gathered energy from 8 persons, if I'm not mistaken, it wouldn't be equal to a power level of 8. It's always like the portrayals of Spirit Bomb has always been shown as being an exponential increase when he gathers the energy, the bomb itself. Now, the thing is, it's highly hinted in the episode, instead of just raising their hands like once and just giving their energy, Gohan and the rest of the Universe 7 members held their hands up for a little while, giving more energy than usual. So that would explain why the Spirit Bomb was as powerful as it is, and why Goku was so confident in it. Because I know people are going to compare the fact that the whole human race and then Gohan and the others actually gave energy against Kid Buu, and it like, even though when Goku was fatigued, it still wasn't enough. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. I think objectively speaking, that's definitely, I didn't really have too much of a problem there, but I know it's something that can be debated, so I have to give my thoughts on it. So after that, now we actually move on to the 110, the struggle with Goku and Jiren with the Spirit Bomb. And it's at this point that we fulfilled the plot point on the strongest mortal that was mentioned before the start of the tournament, which I thought was a good plus. It really helps to reinforce the tension of the 1 hour special, I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty cool seeing all the characters, or at least the Kaioshin and Whis, kind of talk about this mortal that exists that nothing of God's destruction can defeat. And it's just like Jiren has been built up to be this ridiculously OP guy, and it was even reinforced in 109 when Beerus himself was like in disbelief that so much energy can come from a single warrior. So that was that. It was good, not gonna lie. Of course, Goku is eventually pushed back and the Spirit Bomb consumes him. And it is at this point that, I'm not gonna lie, the characterization of Beerus at this point is definitely something to behold, because it definitely feels at this point that slowly but surely Beerus is starting to see Goku more than just a regular mortal. I mean, he already did, but it really feels like he was concerned about Goku, like if he's truly, like, and he says it, is this really the end? And just him saying Goku, son, Goku, like, it really shows a level of respect from Beerus to Goku, I'm not gonna lie. It definitely helps sell the 1 hour special. So obviously at this point we're introduced to Limit Breaker, our Ultra Instinct, our Omen Goku. And I'm probably gonna do a video on why the new form works, as in why it's appealing. So probably look out for that. Probably tomorrow. Or I wouldn't want to say later on today, but just look out for that. I'm not gonna, I mean, a bunch of people have already done like a Ultra Instinct Goku explained video. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do it just yet, or if I'm gonna do it at all, considering that we have incomplete information. So far it's just an assumption on Whis' side, so yeah. But we're introduced to Ultra Instinct Goku, and it's like, it's awesome, I'm not gonna lie. It is definitely awesome. Like, visually speaking, it works, honestly. It's not some, well, I'll touch on that on my Ultra Instinct Goku video. But the point is, at this point, Jiren versus Goku Part 2. Well, within the 1 hour special. So the music itself is good. Like, throughout the special, the music's been pretty decent, especially since during the Spirit Bomb aspect where we had this kind of rendition of Limit Break X Survivor, this kind of instrumental. But generally speaking, the music was good, and the insert song they played, I loved it. and actually getting an explanation of the form itself. Granted, it's still an assumption and we're still going on incomplete information, but it still feels refreshing since this is Super. But the thing is, and I'm gonna tie things in with what I was saying with Ribrianne at the start, in that her taking away from the screen time is that, in retrospect, we cut to the crowd too much. While it is good that we see the crowd's reaction and it helps to build the hype, it does feel like the actual fight was taken away from a bit, to say the least. Like, I'd want a longer cut of just seeing Goku and Jiren fight without interruption. Because if you really and truly take like this part of the fight, it's not really that long. Well, it's not really that long. We get a lot of seeing shockwaves in the air, which could have been used to actually animate more stuff. But so that was definitely a minus for the 1 hour special, honestly. But on another aspect, even though the animation art side right here, it was generally awesome, honestly speaking. But there were some shots where the model and the art seemed a bit like goofy, I'm not gonna lie. Which I may, and a lot of people may have glanced over because, you know, we're lost in the moment seeing this fight for the first time, so there's that. But yeah, I'll probably have a screenshot. Like, initially when Toppo uses his Justice Flash and then Goku's walking away, he attacks Jiren. I don't know if I'm interpreting it wrong, if it's like a specific style of animation or what, because I'm not an animation expert, but like, you guys let me know. But like, how the hands were like drawn here, yeah, I'll probably have a shot on the screen, but it kind of takes away a bit for me. But overall, I thought the art animation was good throughout the 1 hour special. But like, conclusively, by the end, Goku doesn't win, and even though that's the case in a lot of Super, it seriously hammered home. I think it seriously puts a thought in the minds of those that believe that the cliche that Goku always wins, which definitely makes the 1 hour special better. But yeah, and we have Hit coming in. Of course, the spirits of all the other fighters in the ring isn't broken, they still want to take on Jiren. And I mean, really and truly, that's it for the 1 hour special. And of course, we have Frieza looking all menacing, and it looks like he's about to kill Goku, but obviously it's not. Obviously, that's going to be a case that he's going to give Goku some energy, especially based on the preview that Goku looks all fine and dandy. But yeah, so conclusively speaking, taking all of these points into consideration, I think that the 1 hour special definitely did live up to the hype, with some minor nitpicks, minor negatives, minor cutbacks that would take away from it, but not enough to actually like say, hey, it was bad or didn't live up to the hype. It was definitely some of the best episodes of Super to date, I'm not gonna lie. And it's, let me tell you what, one of the major problems with Super is that Super could be like really good if they would take time to really build things up, establish certain plot points, and then have an amazing payoff like this. Granted, the build-up that we had, at the core of it, it's simple. We're just introduced to a guy that's really OP, that we find out that Goku with Kaioken and Super Saiyan Blue probably wouldn't stand a chance against, and we see it in the opening. It piques your interest, but it's build up nonetheless, and we have an amazing payoff. So yeah, this has been my follow-up review. Let me know what you thought. I tried to be a bit more objective instead of just reacting as opposed to my initial review. So let me know what you thought about this. Obviously, I'll be doing a few other videos for the rest of the week based on the 1 hour special. So Sanjo Uchiha, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh yeah, one thing I missed, guys. Hold the phone. They reuse animation in the Ultra Instinct versus Jiren fight. The initial animation from the opening, like, the thing is, it looks good, and I feel it's a case where it would take time to replicate something of that caliber. to make it at least as good as that or better, and they're like, oh shit, let's just change a few stuff, drop it in. Personal opinion, or objectively speaking, it is lazy. It looks good, it's damn good animation and art, but it's lazy. It's lazy, Toei. See you in the next one, people.